What's going on, Raider Nation? I'm back with my post-draft reaction and analysis. I think like a lot of you, especially day one, day two, when the picks happened, I was kind of in shock because I had never even heard of most of these guys. And I'm sure like most people, at least people who like to watch these kind of videos and things and read a lot of the analysis, consider myself a kind of above average fan. This is kind of my take on it, even though I'm not an expert by any means, and I'm not there in the draft rooms or seeing their big board determining what they like and what they don't like. After a couple days to evaluate some of the players that they were taking, look into what they did, I'm actually really excited for the draft results, the players they brought in, the kind of depth that they're going to have. So I just kind of wanted to go through the different picks that they made, make some comments about them, and then wrap up at the end with a kind of overall summary. The biggest thing about the number one pick with Colton Miller, when I was watching the pick,
who's that?
Oh, I guess the number 2 offensive tackle. I mean, they needed a left tackle, so hopefully this guy's good because Penn's 33 years old and he's coming off foot surgery.
And he's always in trouble.
He's not going to last forever. And they don't really have a solid right tackle yet, so this guy could play right tackle this year. And then next year move to left tackle.
And they traded back. Trading back didn't really surprise me at all, but who they picked when they traded back I thought was kind of strange. After reading post-draft stuff that they wanted the number 1 overall tackle from Notre Dame, San Francisco. Took them with the pick before, so I guess it made sense for them to trade back and get something. And as a side note, that additional pick that they got from Arizona, which was the 3rd round, the 79th overall pick, they used that trade of the Steelers get Martavis Bryant.
He gets the snap, throws the pass, it is caught. Running with the football, Martavis Bryant, first down to the 30. He turns, reverses field to the right, 40, 50, 45, 40, 35, 40, 25, 30. He's in the clear, 15, 10. Touchdown, touchdown. Unbelievable.
A huge upgrade on offense, another weapon for Carr. He's a big guy, 6'4", fast, good hands. I think having him slot or even out wide is going to be huge. Imagine a 3 wide receiver set, Cooper, Nelson, and Bryant. You know, and with Lynch in the backfield, Cook at tight end. What's the defense going to do, right? So many options that they can do. And then another thing too, with 2 of the first 3 picks between Brandon Parker and Colton Miller being offensive tackles, a lot of people need to remember that the last 2 seasons, especially the 2016 season, were derailed by injuries to Carr when he broke his leg. Having some more protection, shoring up the line, especially at right tackle, has been a big question mark the last few seasons. They haven't really found anything that worked. Not to mention that Penn is 35, so I don't know how many more seasons of high production he can do. He's been playing great, but with any great player, even with age, they start to decline, plus injuries and things. He may decide it's time to hang it up after this season or so. Bringing in 2 more guys, even though they have question marks and are rough around the edges, need to be coached up. It's just going to add more depth. Hopefully Miller, I can see him starting right tackle beginning of the season, and then our line would look pretty good. You got the 4 remaining starters, and then bringing in a guy like this, supposed to be really good in zone blocking, which we know Cable loves. The pick I thought was really interesting was in the 2nd round that we took Patrick Hall Jr. He goes by PJ for short. Basically, if this guy didn't go to a small school and was a little bit taller, I mean, he probably would have been easily, a high pick, highly valued, highly rated. Reading the measurables on him as well as the production, included a link down below, podcast of an interview with his head coach at Sam Houston State. Some of the information he provided, I mean, this kid sounds like could end up being a really good steal, even if he's only depth or rotational, only comes in on certain plays. Just give you an idea of some of his numbers. He's only 6'1", 300 pounds, but they were worried about Aaron Donald being short, and look at the production he's done. Wasn't invited to the combine. 38-inch vertical for being 300 pounds. 36 reps on the bench, and he ran a sub 4.8 to 40. And I know, physical freaks are usually misses, but on top of that, the kid's got the production to back it up. He had 86.5 tackles for a loss, 42 sacks in his career, 9 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions, 29 pass breakups, and 14 career blocked kicks. That includes punts. He had 2 blocked punts, and then PATs and field goals. I mean, that's insane. And he did it consistently over his career, playing defensive end, and then his senior year moving to defensive tackle. And the biggest thing his coach was talking about him is he's a great teammate, voting on the team for captain, he received 98% of the votes. He's also a high motor guy. Coach said that he basically begged to be on special teams. He wanted to play all the time. He's playing a lot of snaps, a lot of downs, and still always high motor, high effort, every single play, not taking plays off. Works hard. Video of him when he was 17 years old, squatting 700 pounds. The guy is just a freak, like so strong, fast.
Stand up! Stand up! Yeah!
I mean, what more can you ask for as a guy who's just at least going to come in and be coachable and give his all? Brandon Parker, kind of a rough around the edges guy, big, 6'8", 300 pounds. It's definitely going to be a project, but again, depth. You never know what you're going to get there. Adrian Key in the 4th round, big upside, big risk, big reward kind of guy. Had a down year last year after coming off his shoulder surgery, but his best game last year was against Alabama. It was a really good O-line. Probably would have been a lot higher of a pick, possibly 1st round pick, if he didn't get injured and kind of also had the stint with taking some time away from the team to go to rehab. So again, it's almost a talent like Aldon Smith, but I think with Gruden as the coach, discipline will definitely be high on the list, and a lot of the other veterans on the team to kind of make sure that stuff doesn't happen. Then the 3rd day of the draft, a lot of people got really excited, fans, especially myself. First pick, Nick Nelson, DB out of Wisconsin. Probably going to be a good replacement for TJ Carey. I know a lot of people were sad to see TJ Carey leave, but Nick Nelson has some good tangibles. Led the nation in 21 pass deflections last year. Even though he had 0 interception, maybe his hands aren't there, but you know, if he can come in and lock down one of those DB positions, especially in the slot, would be huge. Notable things about him that the coaches would always say when he was in college is that he's known for his practice habits and his work ethic. Another kind of Gruden grinder type of guy between him, PJ Hall. We're starting to see why the coaches were picking guys like this. I mean, someone who's going to come in and give their all. And you've seen what happened with guys that have a ton of talent, but maybe don't put the effort in or are lazy, like, you know, Jamarcus, Rolando McClain, the linebacker out of Alabama that we took that year. Hopefully these kind of guys, you know, pan out, don't end up like that. The next pick that the Raiders drafted, the pick I think it was the one that kind of sealed the deal for everyone being really excited, was Maurice Hurst, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, heart condition, but they say he's been cleared to go, so we'll see. He could end up being the steal of the draft. It's projected to be a 1st round pick, even possibly in the top 10 before they discovered his heart condition. 6'1", 292, so again, kind of another short guy, another Aaron Donald type comparison. Even if only one of them between him and Hall, I mean, we could possibly be getting 2 Aaron Donalds. I know it's very optimistic, but you never know. High ceiling these guys can have. This has been a weak area for the Raiders the last couple seasons, getting a pass rush in the defensive interior. So having 2 guys that are known for being quick, strong, being able to collapse the pocket is going to be huge, especially helping the guys out on the edge with Irvin and Mack. We should see the quarterbacks on the other teams having way less time to be able to pass, which is going to help the secondary out, as well as more sacks, more turnovers, that sort of thing. And then after that pick, punter out of Florida, Johnny Townsend, be a perfect replacement for Marquette, even if it takes them a little bit to get adjusted, or maybe his accuracy is not as good as Marquette. You got to remember, you're not getting all the drama, the penalties and things that King was getting. And then as a side note, they were able to sign his teammate and the kicker at Florida, Eddie Perino, I believe is how you say his last name. Townsend's used to holding for him. They're teammates. They know how to work well together. His leg strength and accuracy looks crazy. In his career, he's 5 for 5 over 50 yards, 77 yarders, 81 yarders in practice.
81.
Drilled it. Could be real special pick-up 1-2 combo between them. And then the last 2 picks in the draft, Azim Victor, linebacker, was another kind of guy that was projected a couple years ago, go a lot higher. He was looking really good. Had an injury, broke his leg. When he came back, he had gained some weight. People were questioning maybe his motor, that sort of thing. It didn't look the same anymore. Again, kind of a late round risk, but you never know. Guy might be wanting a second chance and come in and really take advantage of that, work hard, and get himself back in the shape area he was before. Similar to Eddie Vander does, a lot of people thought that too. You know, came back from injury, had gained some weight, didn't look the same. So we'll see how that one pans out. And then Marcel Aitman, the wide receiver. Again with this one, I mean, Guy's big, 6'5", 216 pounds. His senior year, he had 59 catches for 1,156 yards and 8 touchdowns. So he's got good hands, really good at going up and high pointing the ball. Would be a really good red zone target. So we'll see how many of these late round guys will make the team, how many of them will pan out, but people got to remember the draft is always a crapshoot. Everyone likes to get caught up, myself included, in the big names and get excited and then kind of let down when we don't land one of those. But until 3 or 4 years from now, until you see what these guys actually do, no one really knows. Overall summary from the draft, the Raiders ended up walking away with 10 players with the 11 picks. That was 9 drafted, and then the trade for Bryant. Possibility of getting 3 first-rounders between Miller, Hurst, and Key, depending on off-field issues, injuries, that sort of thing. Some of those guys have dropped. Again, high risk, high reward. I think Gruden will do a good job of keeping these guys in line. Discipline shouldn't be an issue. Plus, the experienced coaching staff should help to get the most out of these guys. There's going to be lots of competition that will push the guys to get better, as well as depth now is a big thing that we didn't have at a lot of positions, especially on the D line. Last year with the Eagles, one of the big things that helped them win the Super Bowl was the fact that their D line had 7, 8 guys that could just come in and rotate out fresh. And now with the combination of draft picks we have, free agents, that sort of thing, the Raiders again can do that. I mean, imagine this defensive line, depending on how the depth chart ends up going. The front 4 would be Mack, Hurst, Mario Edwards Jr., and Bruce Irvin. It's pretty scary starting front 4. And then being able to have guys like Key, Vanderdoes, Jelly, Hester, Hall, and Tank rotate in and stay fresh. Even on long drives, they should still be able to keep fresh legs. And it'll be huge in the fourth quarter too, showing. It'll also help take some of the double teams off Mack and improve the secondary if they're getting the quarterback, causing them to scramble. Again, back to the offensive tackles and Carr being the kind of number 1 priority protecting him this year. Hopefully one of those guys will be able to pan out and hold down the right tackle position, and maybe even after Penn retires, moving over to left tackle. Just give you an idea of some of the sets that we can run. I talked about before the 3 wide receiver set, but now imagine a double tight end set where you're going to have Lee Smith at 1 tight end, and then Penn, Osemele, Hudson, Jackson, and Miller. Carrier, the other tight end that we picked up, who's considered to be one of the best blocking tight ends in the league, and Lee Smith is also considered really good blocking tight end. Throw into that the fullback Kevin Smith from Dallas, again considered one of the top blocking fullbacks in the league, and you have beast mode back there. I mean, short yardage, I don't see how teams can stop that. I mean, you could run in any hole. So we'll see. A lot of changes this year. I try not to get too excited, but every offseason I always do, and then regular season, you guys know it's been 15, 16 years of down, but last 2 years, we'll see. It's getting turned around. And then a final note too, a lot of people are us not getting maybe Fitzpatrick or Ward or some of those guys, but you got to remember last year with Conley and Obi, they haven't really seen the field, so the coaches might feel confident with them in their positions. We'll see. Teams getting a lot younger at key positions, now a lot of depth. Let me know what you think down below, what your guys' thoughts were. All right, talk to you guys later.